Yeah.
We've got Alicia from Terradrift
coming up right now.
Welcome to the Backpacking and Blisters podcast. Thank you for joining us. With me today is guest host Ben McAuliffe. He's a man who encountered 2 talking rocks on a hiking trip. One was shy, but the other was a little bolder. How's it going, Ben?
Good. I thought you were gonna make like a Dwayne Johnson joke, like The Rock. So
Dwayne the Rock,
I thought that was good.
Yeah, next time.
Nice. With me today is the one guy who runs uphill and yells he has the higher ground, Carl Mandrioli.
Yeah, that's not that good, but I don't know. I'm laughing at that.
Oh my gosh,
sure.
It's Star Wars, man. Come on.
He runs uphill. Okay.
Yeah.
It is a Star Wars. I do get the reference, but
okay.
All right. Thank you.
We'll work on it.
I have the higher.
I'll work on it.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so we got coming up here in a couple minutes. We've got Alicia from Terradrift, the force on YouTube and it like online, basically providing all sorts of excellent information. She put out a video where she was able to get her base weight down to 8.2 pounds, and so we just think that she's got a lot of things to share. I feel like we picked on the ultralighters a little bit with some recent episodes. Is it time to kind of swing back the other way, Ben?
I don't know if I ever will. I mean, even though a couple episodes, I guess last episode, we had a couple people thinking we were making fun of the ultralighters, even ditching carabiners that were getting our base weight too low too.
Yeah.
So,
we got some reactions. We'll save those for the tidbit section because we got some strong reactions for sure. So you're saying that you, like her suggestions in this episode, they're just gonna be nonsense. Like you could give a rip, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about 8.2 pounds. That's a very very worthy base weight. But it's not for me. I think we talk about that. I'm not an ultralighter. But those that are, they're probably pretty happy with that and pretty proud of it. I think people should ultralighters should start wearing this like badge. Like, how you have the marathoners that have like 23.1 on their car. I think you gotta start putting stickers with your base weight. Like that just make it better.
That's hilarious. I actually really like that idea.
Can you do it? What's your base weight, Carl?
Yeah, because I'm with you. Like I care about my total pack weight more than my base weight, but people are using base weight, so I want to acknowledge that, and still I want to make sure that we're speaking the same language here. But here's what's funny about that is so we keep on doing these these kind of weekly satirical videos on backpacking YouTubers and the content they're putting out there. And so coming up, I want to say next week, we talk about the kind of the ultralight community and using 2 or every gear needs 2+ uses essentially.
Right.
And I think I didn't go so far as to say you need to have like a badge, but I think I said in order to like legally call yourself an ultralighter, you had to be able to do this. Tongue in cheek, of course, but it's funny that you're on the same wavelength. Okay. Even if you're not, Ben, even if you're not impressed by her 8-pound base weight, I'm impressed. And I think we have something to learn from her. So, I'm sorry that you're a stick in the mud for this episode, but like too bad, basically.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I couldn't make it. I was really bummed that I wasn't able to interview with you due to work restrictions, but I guess it went good. So excited.
We're gonna find out. I think that if you're trying to like mimic Derek by missing interviews, like that's not what we're looking for.
I thought that was it. Like I thought that's what the job is as a co-host is you skip the interviews because you're like, oh, I'm replaced. Okay, I guess I'm not needed, so I'm just gonna take the night off. So
yeah. Before we get to it, I got one. Well, you get the Bible verse of the episode, but I got one. I got a shout out to Laura. Laura emailed me last week, almost immediately when our episode came out. The last week's episode was about the controversial gear. And she basically was like, I'm done with your podcast because of the ad inserts that we had. And she said she's a super fan, and now she's done because we had some like gun ad stuff. Like we're not pumping up gun stuff. That just got inserted into our show. And
I thought I was like, was that wearing a sleeveless shirt or something? Like I thought it was showing something off there, but I guess no, it wasn't that. Okay.
Like when the sun's out, guns out, like that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. We're now sponsored by a company called Suns Out. No. There were like, I think there were like 2 gun commercials. Anyway, so we're gun neutral on the show. We've gone backpacking, or at least I have, with people that bring guns we're not trying to rep guns or be part of like, like pro or con. I've never brought a gun backpacking. Honestly, that could have been one of our controversial gear pieces, right?
Well, I don't know. I never bring a gun either. Even
I know, but
protection from
people do,
animals, like
man.
it's just I know they do, but I just
Yeah.
I guess for me, I just never do. I know people that do, all the time, but
Do you bring carabiners?
No. Well, we'll
Okay, and
see.
you talked about carabiners, right? So you could have talked
Yeah,
about
I
other
did.
items you don't bring.
Yeah, I totally could have
Right?
talked about
Yeah.
any other item. Do you
Right.
bring your car when you backpack, Carl? I mean, we didn't talk
Yeah.
about that. Like,
Who doesn't? Okay, we're getting off topic here. All that to say is I reached out to our host company, and I'd already told them, like, yeah, we just don't want anything controversial, political, gun commercials, anything. So
yeah.
they still put them in there. So I reached out to them immediately, and I let Laura know, and she's like, yeah, she's still gonna, I think, listen to our show. So thank you to
Nice.
bring that to our attention, Laura. Sometimes episodes or like ad inserts get released regionally, so we don't hear all of them. My favorite one was like we had a different podcast host, and I like clicked off like anything controversial, and still people in California got an advertisement from California Psychics one year.
Oh,
and
weird.
that was not very popular either.
No one saw that coming.
Correct. Anyway, so thanks to Laura, and
Yes,
we're gun neutral on the show. We're not trying to pump up any sort of like, political stuff or anything along those lines. So, all right, Ben, what you got for the Bible verse?
Bible verse, Hebrews 13:5. The Lord has promised that he will not leave us or desert us. We could get rid of our packs and still have the Lord, right, Carl? Like I like this one. It's been something that I've been focusing on, is like just, there's times where we need to get rid of stuff, and sometimes it's base weight, pack weight, trying to get stuff down. But there's other times in our lives, whether it's addictions or
emotional
just
baggage.
people in our lives. Yeah, emotional baggage. God takes us down to the foundation, to the studs, and which is just him, and shows us that, through it all we have him. So that's the Bible verse of the episode.
Okay, so you're relating that to base weight because people are shedding things they don't need, and you're saying that that's kind of what that verse is getting at.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Get rid of everything except what you need.
Except what you need. Okay, I like it for sure. Okay. Even though, like it sounds like you really get the core of the episode, but you're still like dead set against it.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, Ben.
Like, I don't know how to argue. I felt like we already gone down this enough, and you just keep going on about my base.
Okay, sorry. All right, we'll get to it. Let's hear from Alicia. Like, base weight is just the beginning, tip of the iceberg. She's got all sorts of good information. She is a wealth of knowledge and resources. Here we go. Welcome to Alicia of Terradrift. She has an 8.2 pound base weight that's going to knock your socks off. How's it going today?
It's going super duper well. I summited a peak, my highest peak in Utah so far yesterday. And
I think you should say today.
No, just today.
Just
got
today.
back. That was yesterday. So I'm feeling pretty good. Had my good solid dose of nature therapy, and I'm always nice way to hit the reset button.
That's right. So what's the highest peak in Utah then?
Well, the highest peak in Utah is Kings Peak.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought.
I haven't done Kings Peak yet, but the highest one I have hiked was yesterday, and that was Mount Timpanogos. So
Timpanogos, and how high is that one?
11,004 something. Honestly, I have only lived in Utah it hasn't even been a year yet. And this is my first time living near mountains. This whole elevation thing never, who cares? It wasn't relevant to my life. Even though I was hiking, peaks, weren't a thing. It was just, I wanted to go hike. And now that I live in a place where, elevation is a thing people just talk about in daily conversation, for some reason, now
wait, no. How does it come across in daily conversation? Like, hey, so what elevation were you at yesterday? Like, what does this have to happen?
Basically,
okay.
I mean, if you say you go hiking, people will ask, especially if you mention a specific mountain. It's, oh yeah, what elevation is that at?
Okay.
Or
which I just did.
Yeah, right. My dad, who doesn't live here, he lives in Ohio where I grew up. I'll mention I went hiking. He's like, oh, what elevation were you at? I'm like, I don't know. I don't care. I was out there because I love being outside.
So that's funny because I live at 6,200 feet and we don't talk about elevation at all. And if I say that I went somewhere, I think people are like, well, how many miles did you do? Or you either get that question or they just don't care. They're just like, there's no follow-up question. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. They're like, great. See you later.
I don't know. Maybe it's not really that often, but compared to what I am used to having lived in Ohio and then Florida and then Massachusetts, Texas, and Arkansas.
Like, you've moved around.
Yes, I have. But in none of those places does anyone care about elevation at all. Well, so
if you move back to one of those places or to another kind of flatland state, maybe you should bring that to the culture. Be like, hey, I heard you were at 10 feet yesterday.
Yep, that would be Florida. What elevation?
Right. Okay, so for those who haven't seen your content, you're on YouTube, you're on just the internet, you've got all sorts of resources, but how would you describe what Terradrift is? What is this?
So Terradrift is essentially, it's a blog and YouTube channel for outdoorists about generally anything. We focus on sustainability, sustainable gear, sustainable outdoor adventure, how-tos in the outdoor, like how to poop in the woods responsibly.
Responsibly, not just go, but responsibly.
Not anybody can poop in the woods, but responsibly, is the key here. Leave no trace principles, gear reviews that are, that highlight gear that was made more responsibly. We don't take ourselves too seriously. A friend of mine, I think, put it best. She described herself as equal parts sincerity and sarcasm. And I was like, can I have that? Because that sounds like me.
That's a tough balance right there. Right? How do you know? Is that an authentic thing you're saying to me? Or are you being sarcastic? Right?
I think people who don't understand sarcasm may have trouble with our channel.
Right.
But it is, we take things like sustainability very seriously, but we think it's okay to crack jokes and have fun with it, and not also take being outdoors too seriously. If you look at our Instagram channel, there are some ridiculous videos about going to the bathroom outdoors.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, can I ask you some advice then? If it sounds like you're an expert in that area.
I mean, I've written extensively about it.
Okay. Well, I bet my scenario is probably not a common one. Maybe it's even unique to me, but for a couple of years I was poking fun at my typical co-host Derek because I would, go off into the woods and have some privacy and he would come find me. He would whether it's intentional or not, it's debatable, but he would end up finding me. And then so I kind of made a big stink about it. And then this past summer, we were out in Desolation Wilderness in California. And so the first night, I make an announcement basically to my group. Hey, this is where I'm going. Don't follow me. And then I go up the trail and then I go perpendicular to the trail, way away. And apparently there's some sort of deer trail or game trail that somebody had climbed up that was overlooking my spot. And of course somebody's walking down right at that time. So I had that the first day. The second day, I pick a random spot on the trail, not a junction, not even at the top of the hill, just randomly, I'm just going to peel off the trail and go find a spot. And as I'm walking away finishing, some stranger's coming right to my spot. What am I doing wrong? Alicia, what am I doing wrong?
That's an excellent question. You must have pheromones or something that people are just attracted to. I don't know. This has never happened to me. But I will say the only time it's come close when I was backpacking during the Fjallraven Classic last summer in Colorado. And that there are over 100 people, 150 people maybe.
I saw that video. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun time. But when you have that many people all backpacking the same route and camping the same campsites and campgrounds, you got to work for privacy.
You gotta work for it.
I mean,
it's hilarious.
I think the second night we camped, I was like, we can't do this again, because the first night somebody was like, they just got too close, and I was like, nope, we're not doing this. So the second night, I think I probably walked at least 3/4 of a mile away from camp.
That's so far. That's so far.
And like went so far off trail and like zigzagged through.
You can get lost. Like you gotta bring your map and compass just to navigate to your spot.
Yeah, I did manage to go to the bathroom in peace when I did that though. So I was like, this was correct. I will walk 3/4 of a mile one way to not be disturbed.
So go farther is the advice.
Go farther.
I feel like I went so far and it's in such a random place, but I'll do better. I'll report back about that one.
All right. And don't forget, watch out for trail cams.
Is there a story with that? Like,
I'm just like constantly aware. Every time I do see a trail cam or a wildlife cam or something, I'm like, how many times have I peed like right in front of one of those and I didn't even know it?
Yeah. Well, I always try to pick spots that like I'm like, I don't think anybody's been here ever, and then obviously I'm wrong. But anyway, okay. So okay, we're going down an interesting rabbit hole here, but okay, so like cutting to the chase here as far as the big topic. I feel like we live in a day and age where there's just so many ultralight options. We have so much content. There's YouTube, there's blogs, there's websites, there's newsletters suggesting so many different things. So as a backpacker, how do you sift through all the data and decide what to buy and inevitably like what to bring?
Yeah, it's a great question because there is so much stuff out there.
Oh yeah.
And for me, it narrows it down a bit because my focus on sustainability. Like I am going to always choose a product that is in some way sustainable over one that has no sustainability features at all. And of course that can mean so many different things. I mean, we produced a whole video just about like sustainability as a spectrum, and it's so many definitions, from being made in the USA to being made out of recycled materials to not containing PFAS. So basically I'm going to pick the gear that's the most sustainable, but I'm also vegan, which means I'm not going to choose items made with down or wool. So that narrows it down a little bit for me personally. But in general, I think it, for me, comes down to just like looking at things from a very analytical perspective. Like how much does this weigh? How much is it going to help my base weight? Is this a thing that I even really need? Like how much is replacing my steaks really going to cut my base weight?
Right. That's a big one.
Because they're already so light and you're only taking a few of them. But it's also like functionality, because I've seen, what was something I saw recently on Garage Grown Gear, because I love that site. There was a toothbrush head that attaches to the end of your like metal spork.
Right.
Like it pops into that little hole that's in a lot of those metal sporks. And my first thought was, oh, that's amazing. Look how tiny that is and how lightweight it is. And then my brain switched and I was like, what? Wait a minute. I'm putting my nasty, dirty hands all over the end of my spork. And then I'm going to put that in my mouth. With my toothbrush head. And also the end of my spork is metal. I don't really want a thin metal thing like near my gums.
Clanging around, yeah.
Clanging around, especially if I'm like walking around camp and brushing my teeth and probably going to trip over stuff. Seems
chip your teeth on the way.
Yeah, this seems like a recipe for disaster. But it was mostly like the cleanliness thing. Like I've put my dirty hands on the end of that spork.
Right.
Like I don't want to then put that in my mouth. That's how you get E. coli, guys. So it's stuff like that functionality where I'm like, is this really going to improve the backpacking experience, or am I just obsessing over cutting like 3 grams? Like I want the big stuff, right? To be, I want to cut a pound at a time. Or at least several ounces at a time.
Right. For sure. No, that's interesting.
It comes down to quality as well, right? Like I want something that's going to last, because ultralight gear is expensive. So I don't want to have to buy it again in 6 months or a year.
Yeah. Which with the really high end stuff, I haven't had as many issues with that stuff breaking, at least not in the first 5 years. I'm trying to think if I've had any issues. I think that the pads and the pillows are the most precarious things, which tend to, those are the ones that have the lowest life expectancies without, needing to be repaired. But okay, so you mentioned, so you really, if you kind of put like sustainability and I guess vegan through the filters, that is going to cut it down quite a bit. But you just kind of sparked a memory. I was talking with a rep from Nemo earlier this year, and my question wasn't about that. I was just like, hey, what do you have new coming out? Can you tell us? And she went right to our sleeping bags. I think it was Nemo. Our sleeping bags are recyclable.
Yep.
And that was about, I want to say like 70% of the conversation. Not what are the features of because there were more than one. There's more than one new thing that she had, but it was all about that. So then I was like, okay, why is she telling me all this stuff? So here's my question to you: what percentage of the consumers, the backpacking consumers out there, are aligned with you in terms of how they're motivated to buy things, do you think? Like,
it's a tough question, and one we are always talking about. My husband and I, because we're like, what? Getting people to care about sustainability who don't already care about sustainability so much that they will change their buying patterns because of it is a tough sell. Which is why Terradrift, like, we try to we're not just like reviewing a piece of gear. Like we've done Nemo also has a backpack that we like a day pack that we tested earlier this summer that is recyclable, which is a huge deal. And when we do things like that, we try to explain the why behind why this is important. Because that's how I've always operated. Like, I'm not going to follow the rules or change my behavior unless you can explain to me why it's important. And if you do, I'm okay, let's do it. I'm fully on board. But so that's what we try to do, is explain like why this is a big deal, why this is important. Let's use numbers and science, because I do have a background as well as a science writer. Let's use science to talk about this, why this matters. And I think the number of people who care about that sort of thing is growing. It might be slowly. And some people are going to make some decisions about sustainability that are different. Because like we said, sustainability is a spectrum. So somebody may be like, okay, well, I don't need to focus on things made of recycled materials, but I understand what you're saying about recyclable products. So I'm going to seek out those products. Or like most people don't align with my opinions about down because vegans are, a small percent of the population. So they're going to still choose down, but like, we explain, well, if you're going to do that, then look for, RDS certified down or whatever. So it's just sort of like everybody picks their own, what's important to them, right? Even on the sustainability spectrum. So hopefully as people understand more about the why of things, they're driven to make more responsible buying purchases, because honestly, like, buying gear isn't sustainable in itself. Like,
right.
Making your gear last is arguably more important than buying new sustainable gear, and buying used gear is more sustainable than buying new, sustainable gear.
Yeah. Which that's why it caught me off guard talking about recyclable sleeping bags, because from that hasn't been at the forefront of my mind, is trying to buy sustainable gear in the past. But when I hear about recycling sleeping bags, I'm like, okay, I'm not even thinking about the end of the life of the sleeping bag, because I've never thrown one away.
Yeah.
I've always, like, first of all, I still have my original backpacking one from 30 years ago, and it still works. It's still great. And then every bag I've gotten rid of since then, I'm typically selling, or I don't even think I've donated them, but I would. So they're always in, they're not, I don't think any of my bags have ended up in a landfill as far as I know. So it's not even on the forefront of my mind. So in terms of sustainability, I'm just thinking, yeah, in the long run, I guess that matters. But in my lifetime, I don't anticipate getting rid of this stuff, right?
Yeah. And I think there are kind of two types of people. Like, I'm that kind of person that I don't think I've ever thrown away a piece of gear either. That's not true. I have. But it was because it was like totally falling apart. I mean, like, this thing could not be patched. It could not be saved. It was done. Like, it had reached the end, the actual end of its life. And even then I harvested its organs, I'm going to say.
You get the gold out of it or something, right?
Yes. Yeah. I cut off all of the webbing on this backpack and the buckles and the cinch cords and anything like plastic that I could potentially repurpose if I was going to make some gear later. When a big inflatable lounge chair thing that I had punctured and couldn't be patched, I kept the fabric and made a bunch of sewed a bunch of stuff sacks from it. So like DIY ultralight stuff sacks.
Right.
So yeah, there are those of us that do stuff like that like give it away or sell it or donate it. But then I'm thinking also about all the people out there who aren't thinking that way, that are like, oh, this has a hole in it, I'm going to chuck it. Because they don't know how to fix it, which we talk a lot about gear repair as well. On Terradrift, because it's so easy to do a lot of repairs and keep things in play. But yeah, there are certainly people out there, and I've known them personally, that are just like, throw it in the trash. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay, that's and fair. So I guess it wasn't that person, but
I mean, good. We should all be thinking about selling things and and patching them and repairing them and like taking care of them so they last 30 years. That's awesome.
I mean, especially if you like it, right? Like, if you like the piece of gear, then it's like, for some people it can become sentimental to them, and so you want to do that. But
absolutely.
All right. So speaking of, you already mentioned that you're not going to be so meticulous about shaving the minor, the partial ounces or the grams or whatever, but you're looking to shave a lot of weight all at once. So you got to give us the rundown. We're not going to go through, if you want to see everything that she's got in her 8-pound base weight, you can check out the video. She gives a rundown. She's got it on the video. You can see everything, but can you at least give us like the big four, like, your big 4 items? What do you have that you like? What did you decide upon that fits all your criteria?
Oh, for sure. It's, for me, it starts with like a frameless pack or an almost frameless pack. So we've tested a lot of frameless ultralight packs in the past, and I think that video I was using a Waymark Gear Co. ultralight pack. Excuse me. But like that one, Gossamer Gear, the
Gossamer
Gorilla,
Gear, I think, is one I saw you use. Yeah.
So that one, I've done a couple of ultralight pack videos, so I'm like, I don't remember which one. There's
a lot of them out there.
Which pack I used, but like those two tend to be my favorite. I've also tested just this spring the Light AF pack, which is a fun one. And if you're talking about like loving gear, like it's fully customizable and you can pick the colors and patterns and all kinds of stuff. So like it becomes a pack you want to hang on to for a long time. But
Yeah, especially with the colors. Colors matter to me.
Oh, absolutely. I know, like me too. In real life, I wear black and white, and that's it. And then when I go outside, I'm like color, all the color, and like the perfect balance of color and color that looks good in photos. And I'm all about color. But
okay, so with the packs, so you mentioned 3 different packs there. I know that they're different packs, but generally speaking, what are you looking at in terms of weight? Like, are you looking at a pound for a pack, or a little more, a little less, or where you at?
I think usually like under 2 pounds is usually my goal. Like if it's over 2 pounds, I'm like, can you even call it an ultralight pack at this point? It's to be pretty close to 2 pounds or under. Because they do like a little, it's nice to have a little bit of structure sometimes. If you're, carrying a little more weight, like in the winter, I probably want a little more structure because I'm going to be carrying more stuff, or if I have to put a bear canister in there, which is the worst.
It is. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but that's usually what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your pack. Sleeping bag. What you got? Or quilt? Sorry.
Oh yes. So depends on the temperature, but I have an Enlightened Equipment quilt that's synthetic, one of their synthetic insulation ones, which is very hard to find, a synthetically insulated quilt.
Right.
Like 2 brands maybe make them, and one of them's not very ultralight. So Enlightened Equipment it is. I love that thing. Packs up super small. It's comfy. It's soft. But it is like strictly a summer quilt because I think it's like 40-degree temperature ratings.
Yeah.
And I sleep cold because I'm quite small. So when I need a warmer quilt or a warmer bag or something, I will go slightly heavier on the bag because I do sleep so cold that I know it's going to be. I say that, but I still end up bringing the Enlightened Equipment quilt when it's like going to be 40 degrees. I'm like this. I'm going to be uncomfortable. But only for a short trip. For longer ones, I have a Cedar Summit bag that's like zipperless. That's pretty lightweight, and I think it's maybe a 30-degree. I can't remember what that one is called. But then Mountain Hardware makes the Laminate Eco AF, which is a white bag, undyed, which is super sustainable. That whole bag is designed in a really sustainable manner. But when it's cold, they have several temperature ratings for that bag, and it's pretty dang light for the temperature ratings on offer.
When you talk, I don't think I've used like bags that have had the half zip, but not the zipperless. If you get in the bag and like I don't know if they have the cinch cords or whatever. Is it possible to get trapped in that bag? Like you can't get out?
I've never done it. But
like could your husband cinch everything? Like your arms are inside. Could you cinch everything down like around the hood and like trap you?
I don't think so because it's because of the open design. It like flaps over you sort of like a blanket and like tucks in.
Gotcha. And because so it's open. It's not like a tube that you're sliding into.
Yes. No, I see. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I didn't describe it well.
No, I don't. I just never used one. So that's why I'm asking.
It's sort of like the top 3/4 of it or something is like a blanket system. You either can throw it all the way off or like curl it around you and like tuck it.
It's like a half quilt almost.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So for the claustrophobic people out there, you can still use that one to see what it sounds like.
Yes. Or, get the, what is it? The Selk bag, the wearable sleeping bag. That's like a suit.
Are those still around?
Yeah.
Those, I saw those like in lots of different places for a couple of years. Are people still using those things, you think?
Have I ever seen anyone else use one in the wild? No. Do I wander around campgrounds in my Selk bag? Yes. Does everyone in the campground stare at me like I'm a crazy person? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. I got a hold of one. This is a few years ago, and I put it on, and my dog just started barking at me like I was some sort of monster. So And like I've dressed up in a Sasquatch costume, and my dog's not barking at me, but the silk bag got the dog. So I don't know.
Really upsetting.
What that means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So
yeah.
Okay. All right. Weird questions about sleeping bags. Check.
Got it.
All right. What do you have for your pad? What's your pad of choice?
I use most of the time, like again in the summer, a Thermarest. I think it's the Neo Air Uber Light. Yeah, that's what it's called. Neo Air Uber Light, I believe. And I think it's the lightest pad on the market. It's less than a pound. I'm gonna say like 9 ounces or something like that.
Is that right?
And so it's like a nice thing if you don't want to compromise comfort for like weight.
Okay.
So that's a good one. Right. But Thermarest makes a lot of good ultralight ones for like different seasons. So
they do. Yeah, I like both of them actually. My buddy and I were switching between them during the trip last year. We're like, all right, you try this one. Now you try this one.
Yes.
They went back and forth, and they were comfort wise, they're pretty similar. So okay. And then shelter, what you got?
If I'm going solo, it's going to be the Gossamer Gear, the 1.
Okay.
Is my choice. It's just a very roomy 1-person tent. And it's really light, pitches with trekking poles. I dig it. 2-person, because most of the I don't want to say most of the time anymore. Half the time I'm going backpacking now. My husband goes with me, so we'll take like the Durston Mid X.
X Mid, yeah.
Yeah, X Mid. There it is. I was like, oh dang, I always get this one wrong.
Same thing.
But same basic principle with like the trekking pole pitch, and it's extremely roomy. Has huge vestibules. So
okay,
that one's nice. It's a little heavier maybe than some like ultra streamlined 2-person tents, but it's got a lot of room, so I like that.
Okay. Yeah. They're super popular. I see them all over the place for sure. So okay, interesting. I haven't checked out the Gossamer Gear 1. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Okay, got some things to think about here. All right, so those are the big 4, and like I said, if you want to check out the specifics that she's got, like down to the nitty gritty. I think in the video you were even bringing 2 stoves because you were testing, like you want to do a stove comparison, I think. And so I don't know if you counted that in your base weight or not. I know stoves don't weigh a whole lot, but I was like eyeballing all the little things that you had. And so I was like, okay, to get down to an 8.2 pound base weight, I was like, you got to be pretty meticulous with shaving weight. Based on your toothbrush store, it doesn't sound like you are, but so kind of where do you draw the line? Are you like everything has to have 2 uses, or I don't know. I just had a couple things I noticed that it looked like you didn't care about. So where do you stand with all that stuff?
Once you start shaving the little things down, like it starts getting real personal, right? Like real personal. I mean, some people wouldn't dream of going backpacking without a pillow, whereas I'm like, I actually hate inflatable pillows. I find them very uncomfortable. So I'm gonna use my stuff sack full of clothes, which actually brings its own set of problems because I like to streamline my clothes as well. So a lot of times I'll get to nighttime, I'm like, oh, I only actually have 1 extra shirt. Doesn't make a very good pillow.
Right.
So a lot of times it'll end up being like, I'll have to, whatever. But usually I don't bring a pillow, but I will bring a pair of sandals for camp. And
like the really thin ones that have like the string lacy. I think that's what I saw on the video. I don't even know. I know they're on the Garage Grown Gear website.
They are. They're Mayfly equipment, and I have tested them a couple times now, trying to give them a fair shake.
Yeah,
but I hate them. I think I hate saying that about gear, because like when we review gear, we try to be really like amenable to everything, and like think about the types of people, like even if I don't like it, who would like this, because this is going to be for somebody, right?
For somebody, right?
Those are for like die-hard ultralighters who also aren't planning on leaving their tent after they take their hiking shoes off. Like, these are strictly for middle of the night. I got to walk to the bathroom, like, and back stuff. Like,
bathroom
if you have,
shoes.
Yeah, they're bathroom shoes. If you have to walk anywhere else in them, they're just not functional.
Okay.
So what I usually bring is like a pair of Zero Shoes brand, like barefoot sandals, because those are the lightest. I think they're the lightest barefoot sandals I have, and I do have a lot of barefoot sandals.
Okay.
But I will bring those. I like people cut their toothbrushes in half, and it's just one of those things. Like, I've done that. I've taken just like the like the toothbrush heads. When you have those toothbrushes with the replaceable heads, I'll bring just the heads. But I'm like, you're cutting so little weight. You're removing so few grams, and also making brushing your teeth extremely difficult.
Right.
So
it might be, it's like symbolic, right? Like, this is the extent I'm willing to go to go ultra light. I'm not really saving a ton, but this is who I am. I'm a toothbrush, knob cutter.
So, and isn't that all of just ultralight? Like, that in a nutshell, we're just super extreme people who are willing to be miserable just to brag about our base weight.
Maybe. I mean, there's definitely something to that. When we were passing people that were, through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail this past summer, the size of their packs with the bear canister was amazing. And I'm like, there's no luxury items in there. There's nothing fun in there. Yeah. But they were having a good time. So, each their own in that regard.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in terms of the Mayfly sandals, though, real quick. So Lloyd from Garage Grown Gear, he came on our show. This is a while back, and he spoke about those specifically. And he basically said what you said. He's like, look, this is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You could probably make these things for a few dollars, but if you just want the lightest, most convenient set of sandals for essentially doing what you're doing, you're just going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And you want something. You don't want to walk barefoot. You want something instead of your shoes. This is a solution.
Yeah.
For me, that's where I skimp, because I don't have camp shoes. I don't, if I want a different feel on my foot, I'll take out the inserts or whatever. But so I don't think you're far off in terms of the intention behind it either.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're for somebody. But as far as like other things, ultralight, let me think about it. Like, I don't.
You brought, I'll pick on you a little bit, because you brought. And this might go to sustainability, but like, I noticed, so when you pack your stove, you had the canvas bag that the stove comes with, which I hadn't actually ever seen somebody pack, I don't think, or at least not recently. And then you also had your cooking pot, like titanium cooking pot, and a titanium mug. So you didn't multi-purpose those right there. So there's things, it sounds like there's some things you're like, okay, I don't care as much about, right?
For the cookpot thing, words. The cookpot thing depends on the trip. If I'm going solo, I will probably just bring, like, I have a pot that's like small enough I can use it as a mug, but also it boils enough water for like to rehydrate a meal. So if it's just me going, I'll bring that. If it's Josh going as well, then I want to be able to drink something or eat out of my mug while he's boiling water. So we'll bring a pot and a mug. The stove thing, honestly, again, like, those little bags weigh so little that I'm like, I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
I hate the sound of like metal on metal.
Like, or metal in your teeth.
The metal pudding. Yeah, my camp spoon is plastic also. Putting the stove in like a titanium pot, I hate that sound.
Right.
Like the arms scraping. But it's just one of those things,
some people put it in a Ziploc bag or whatever.
Sure.
You're not shaving a ton of weight. I'm just picking on you, basically. I'm just picking on you.
That's fine.
So
I mean, what that's what ultralighters do. They're like, hey, what's that? Are you carrying a penny? Oh my gosh, you could have cut 2 grams. I don't know how much a penny is.
Right. Donate your change, round up. Yeah.
So it's so like, funny. Again, like the little tiny things, the things that we're talking like grams, they don't add up to enough to matter to me. So I'm like, whatever. At that point, I'm more comfortable with like function than shaving grams, because they're all going to add up to probably less than an ounce.
Right.
And I think I can handle an ounce.
Okay. So speaking of that, then you already mentioned like a couple luxuries you take or whatever, especially with the camp shoes and stuff. But with an 8.2 pound base weight, what's one luxury you feel like you can afford that you would suggest to others? What's kind of your favorite luxury item?
That's a good question. Like I'm all about the camp shoes. I know that's like a super, I don't want to call it a divisive subject, but I think even Backpacker just ran an article on camp shoes and like whether or not they're an extravagance or, a nice thing to have. But I love to be barefoot. I'm all in on the barefoot shoe thing, like the minimalist shoes and everything. And so when I get to camp, like I want to free my feet, man.
Free the feet.
So, and I find it's just like, especially if you've hiked long distances and with barefoot shoes, it's a little different because when you swap a pair of barefoot boots for a pair of barefoot sandals, there's not really a big difference there.
Right.
But if you've been like heavy, clunky boots all day, like I used to hike in, and you put on a pair of sandals when you get to camp, oh my gosh. Whew.
It's a big change.
It's magical. So that's my thing that like I always bring. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that like an ultralighter would tease me about.
Tease you about.
I think
it's okay to have luxury items. Okay.
No, it's not.
Full disclosure, like 2 or 3 episodes ago, we did an episode called 6 Reasons Why You Should Stop Ultralight Backpacking. So we like the gear, but then we want to bring the luxuries as well. Sure. As kind of our thesis.
Isn't that part of what ultralight is? Like for some people, it's about, like for me, it's about shaving weight and like getting to that lowest weight you possibly can because it's an obsession. And for other people, it's like cutting back so that you can bring that camp chair or whatever, which no, I would never bring a camp chair. Those weigh like a pound. But,
and that's what I would bring.
Right. And that's totally a valid reason to carry, pack ultralight. When it's colder outside, I will bring a closed cell foam pad and an inflatable pad. Because gotcha. I want to sleep comfortably. So that's the inflatable pad, but I also want a place to sit on the ground, especially if it's snowy or like the ground is frozen. It's really cold. I'm not sitting my butt on the cold ground. Like that makes you colder. So I want to be able to sit on something comfortable, but also like lay out in the sun if it's warm enough to do that, but also then layer it under my sleeping pad for extra warmth because again, sleep cold.
I don't think you're alone with that. I think that's legit. So, okay. Those are good. I like those. All right. So when we have YouTubers come on, especially the first time, I always like to shamelessly give you some video suggestions and ask you, just ask you which one you're most likely to make. So I come up with 3 that I think I could see on your channel. Maybe not. Maybe I'm like way far off. You can be the judge. But out of these 3, which ones would you make? First one. We let strangers pack our gear and food. How did it go? 2. How to backpack with 0 plastic. 3. When to pet wild animals you encounter.
First follow-up question. Do I have to give you any sort of royalties on these ideas?
Apparently you're doing pretty well on YouTube. That's a question. No. If you want to take these ideas, I say go for it.
While the animal one is obviously intriguing, I think it would be short because the answer is never. Done. Video over.
Frustrating. That's a frustrating answer. I'll be honest.
It is. I love animals also, and so when I am not allowed to touch them, it's upsetting. But yeah, maybe I should do that video because it'd be so short that the retention rate, which matters on YouTube, like how long people watch your videos would be like 100%. So maybe we should do that.
Maybe YouTube short, 10 seconds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think probably number 2, the backpacking without any plastic.
No plastic. Okay.
And although I should ask, is that single-use plastic or any plastic?
Yeah, I think the bigger challenge is any plastic. And I guess you'd have to figure out. There's probably plastic and things that we don't even realize, and so maybe that's too hard. But
I'd have to carry a canvas backpack, like that level of plastics. Is that what we're going for?
Leather with metal buckles. Yeah. Sure. Okay. I guess you could go. You could start small. We're gonna go with the no single-use plastic.
Okay.
Yeah. If that video does well, then you're like, okay, we're gonna level up. No plastic, right?
Oh man, yeah. What would you sleep on?
I don't. You might know more about plastic than me. Is nylon? Like, is all that stuff plastic?
Yeah, like polyester, nylon, TPU, PVC.
It'd be hard for you if you can't use wool. For sure.
Yeah, wool and leather is that's a tough one.
Oh yeah, leather too. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. There's gonna be. You're right. Yeah, it'd have to be some sort of canvasy thing. Okay, maybe this is not reasonable, but maybe the single-use plastic.
The single-use plastic, definitely. Because honestly, we come pretty close to that anyway.
Okay.
And like I have to plug Meg from Outdoor Minimalist podcast. She has talked about like less waste in backpacking and things like that extensively. But yeah, there's totally ways to do that. You pack your food in stasher bags, which are made of silicone, reusable endlessly. You put boiling water right in them. Yeah, the snacks, you'd have to like DIY all your own snacks because of the packaging that they're all in, and like make all your own food and like go to the bulk grocery store and hope that your bulk grocery store has like ramen and stuff. And rice. And it's zero waste is like no plastic is tough when backpacking, unfortunately, but it can be done. So
I thought for sure the word Tupperware was going to come up with that.
Oh, you know what? I've heard that somebody on your show is obsessed with Tupperware.
Yes, we have that person. So I thought that's because if you're going to reuse the Tupperware, then that's how you could package everything, right? Without it make it a mess. But
you could also use Tupperware.
Well done to answer the question without saying that. And then I just brought it up. So I just wrecked it. So, okay. All right. So aside from that video, can you tell us about like what you got coming up with Terradrift or anything we can look forward to with your channel or on your blog?
Yeah, absolutely. We always have exciting gear reviews coming up and like how-tos, things like that. We're actually starting to lean more into the science aspect and like the why of sustainability. So we are actually soon here going to Oregon to ride the Rim, which is a couple weekends that Crater Lake National Park closes down the most of the Rim Road to vehicular traffic, and you can cycle with no cars. So we're going to go do that and talk about what that's like as an experience, but also talk about, the conservation efforts and the ecology and what makes Crater Lake National Park such a unique ecosystem and such a cool place. So stuff like that, diving into some more science about like barefoot shoes and the health reasons and like the functionality and stuff and why you might want to consider them if you haven't already. So yeah, a lot of good sciencey stuff that really ties into sustainability in the outdoors and adventure and just getting out there to play more responsibly.
Okay. Well, people definitely don't come to our show for science. So if you're looking for more of the why and the science behind things, check out Alicia at Terradrift. Got a lot of good stuff coming up, things we can look forward to for sure. Alicia, thank you so much for taking the time, hopping on our show and addressing the weird questions I threw at you.
Absolutely. Weird questions are my favorite. So my pleasure.
All right, man. There you go. So again, thanks to Alicia for coming on our show. We actually had like a really long, extended, awesome conversation. And so I took a chunk of it and I'm putting it on Patreon. So if you're looking for that bonus segment, you want to hear more from Alicia, check out our Patreon. It is on there this week. Thanks again, Alicia. Then react. What you got?
So the two things I was thinking of, Carl, is one's making fun of you, but the other one, people like bathroom talk on the Backpacking and Blisters podcast, right? Like it's one of the
like just on this podcast or in general, you think?
It seems like most on this podcast, but I think in general, I don't know. Okay. I think the controversial gear episode, you like to throw out percentages. So I think 68% of the listeners here like bathroom talk.
It's probably about right, actually. It's probably about that. The other 32% are like, fast forward.
Yeah. I don't even know where you come up with your percentages.
It didn't get like we just talked about like more conceptual stuff. It didn't get graphic. And I was asking her advice because she was willing to travel 3/4 of a mile to have privacy, that's a long way, man.
What I mean, like, was she too nice to just be like, guys, stay here? I just need a little privacy. I'm going to the bathroom. I think you shared on one episode, like you told Derek that you had to go to the bathroom and you kind of followed still.
Like, no. I tell him every time.
You watched out for it. Yeah. Okay.
Every time I tell him. And now if he's part of the group, I just tell the whole group, to be honest. Okay. But as I shared with Alicia, like it didn't matter because other people found me no matter how obscure of a place I'd go. But maybe I'm just.
What do they think you're playing hide and seek? Like it was like, hey, let's go find Carl. It'll be funny.
Like, who's that over there? What is he doing?
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. And then, you said you were going to react to something that was making fun of me. What was the thing that you thought was funny?
How'd you not know what a zipperless sleeping bag is? Like, it's just like a quilt.
Did you know?
Of course. I host a podcast. I help with the Backpacking and Blisters podcast. I'm an expert.
So now you know all gear.
Yes, all gear.
Okay.
No, I was thinking the same thing as you. I thought it was like just a mummy bag that you just kind of crawl into. And
like a tube,
yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think it was like a blanket that like folds over. So totally.
If they did have those, and they might, I don't know, but if they have like one of those tubes you kind of climb into, and then you have like those little like cincher, like the shot cord cinchy things around like the head, and somebody cinches you down, like would you be trapped at that point?
Well, wouldn't you anyways, like in a mummy bag too, or do you think you could get to the zipper off your side? I don't know.
Yeah, you have to get your arms out. People like having their arms out.
Yeah. We gotta start testing this stuff that we come up with. You know, like have an episode where we just test, like, can we get out of sleeping bags? Does Carl know ounces? Like, you know, we gotta start doing it. But I don't know if I could. We talked about this at work today. We were talking about bivvies because we were bringing it up because one guy actually used a bivvy and hated it. Mouth breather too, just like me. So condensation problems. But our broad shoulders, you know, like I feel so constricted in those, like to turn and roll. Like it just so yeah, I don't even zip them up all the way. So I don't know what
I think that was just an excuse for you to say, like, I'm just really masculine. I've got broad shoulders, pretty muscular. Yeah. It's hard to fit all my muscles inside the sleeping bag, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the excuse I used. I was like, I don't know if you know this. I got some pretty broad shoulders, but yes.
Right. Okay, so we went over some of the gear that Alicia brings, but we didn't go over all of it. I mean, you can physically see all of it in the video. We have that link to the show description, so if you want to check out what she's got to get such a low base weight. She's pretty particular with her gear. She's, you know, she runs the gear through probably more filters than most of us run it through to kind of, you know, hone down on very specific companies and sustainability and some other factors that she has. So yeah, you can kind of take that for what it's worth and see if this is, you know, if her gear choices are interesting or worthwhile to you. So there you go. Okay. We've got, what do we have here? We've got base weight trivia. coming up. You ready for this, Ben?
Yeah, let's go. I get nervous every time I know you're doing trivia. I like start
you should.
feeling pressure
Even though you've
and
been
heart
crushing
palpitations,
it,
and I know, but all right, let's
Okay,
go.
well, we got it coming up right after this. The trail is calling your name. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Our good friend Roan from Summit Strength can get you trail ready. Roan uses rock solid evidence to design a specialized training program just for you. There are plenty of cookie cutter programs out there that will get you only halfway up the mountain. Make it to your adventure summit with Summit Strength. The link to your success is always in our episode description, but you can check out all the information you need at summitstrength.com.au/online. It's time to be strong and pain-free for your next adventure. All right, so we got base weight trivia, and we were kind of just referencing the 8-pound base weight is for advanced or the kind of the ultralight community out there. But for those that aren't as hardcore, those that are more on the casual side of adventure, check out the gear from Teton. It's comfortable, dependable, and easy on the wallet. So check that out at tetongear.com. So if this episode's kind of a little too far, in terms of expense or advancement for you, Teton could be your answer. And they're the ones sponsoring this trivia. So, what we also have for this trivia, Ben? I think this is your suggestion. You want a little bit of a trivia jingle, right?
Yeah. I was thinking like having some theme music while we go, because when I listen, it's kind of quieter. And I thought, let's have some music in the background just to make it a little more fun. So, what do you got?
Okay, well, we'll do that in a second. But yeah, so basically what you're saying is like trivia, I think, is the most popular segment of our show, and you're saying it's still not good enough. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, let's make it better. It's all about let's try to make stuff better. So let's try.
I'm with you. All right, here we go. Cue the new jingle. We'll try this one out. Here we go. Boom. All right, Ben. Number 1. Which of the following items is not calculated as part of one's base weight? A, first aid kit. B, stove fuel. C, water bottle. Or D, the infamous 1-inch knife.
Is it first aid kit? I think it's A, first aid kit. It's either that
A, first aid kit is incorrect and an embarrassing answer.
Yeah.
Wow, Ben. Come on.
Well, the 1-inch knife, I shouldn't have thought about that, because the 1-inch knife goes inside the first aid kit. So that's actually 2 items in one. So
it doesn't normally. That's just where I put it. But yeah, I thought I was going to trick you with water bottle, because the bottle itself is base weight, but the water's not. It's consumables. So you don't count consumables. So the fuel is consumable. So it's B, stove fuel.
Gotcha.
Whew. Okay, this could be your first loss.
Right. I know. I'm not good with ultralight base weights, because I just don't care about base weights. I just pass.
Yeah. So and we haven't even gotten to the name one yet. So number 2, which of the following is the lightest weight? A, packet gourmet freeze-dried meal called Texas State Fair Chili. B, the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe Stove. C, the Osprey Hydraulics 1.5 liter reservoir empty. Or D, a typical anvil.
I think it's C. Let's go with that.
The Osprey reservoir?
Yeah, it's empty.
Okay. Of all the items I listed there, obviously the anvil was a joke answer, but that was, of the 3 backpacking related items, that was the heaviest, actually.
Oh my gosh. See, I just don't care about base weights. My first loss in trivia. Oh my gosh.
This isn't about base weight now. This is just about weight in general. So
yeah.
So typically your freeze-dried meals are going to be in the 5-ounce, 4.5 to 6 ounce range.
I was thinking because it's Texas chili, so it's probably Texas makes everything bigger. So I was thinking that was going to be heavier.
Yeah, correct. And so the correct answer is the MSR Pocket Rocket. We had 3.5 ounces.
Okay, I knew those were heavy, but that's not bad. All right, yeah.
Do you know how much a typical anvil weighs?
Is it? Oh gosh, it's been a while since I watched Looney Tunes. Is it 5 pounds or 10?
5 pounds. That hunk of metal.
What is it?
On the low end, they weigh 75 pounds, and on the high end, they weigh 500 pounds.
Wait, you're talking? Okay, I was thinking isn't it the ham the blacksmith anvil?
The anvil's what they slam the metal against, blacksmiths pound the sword on.
Actually, I guess I haven't lifted one, or if I have, they just been light to me, So
maybe you should. It's not too late.
Yeah.
All right,
I failed. Okay.
First trivia loss, which means you're at risk for being a fake ranger and checking permits on the trail when we go. Number 3, Who had the lowest base weight for their adventures? Lowest overall base weight. A, Edmund Hillary. If you don't know who he is, he's the first guy, or one of the first guys to climb Mount Everest. B, Andrew Skirka, one of the most famous long-distance hikers in the world. C, Legolas, self-explanatory. D, me on the John Muir Trail 30 years ago.
Oh.
Not quite 30.
Well, I think it's Legolas because he doesn't carry anything when he's running. Like, if you watch the movies, he actually doesn't even have
He carries some stuff.
No, he has his quivers and his bow and arrow. Like,
that's stuff.
If you watch the movies, yeah. So quivers, or let's go with B because I don't think they really put Legolas's pack weight on there. So is it B?
No, it was C. It was Legolas. You had it right.
It was.
Yeah. Oh, he's got his bow. Right. He's got arrows. He's got no food. He doesn't have a water bottle.
Oh, I overthought it. Oh.
Yeah, you did everything. Yeah. 0 for 3. We should start making like 0 for 3s count as 2 trivia losses in the future.
You know what? Let's just get rid of the jingle. I think the jingle screwed me up. Let's just, bad idea.
Right, end jingle now. Boom. Okay. That's funny, man.
I hate names.
So, all right. Well, you can get trivia revenge next week, I suppose.
Yes, I will.
Okay. I got a couple tidbits. So we got reactions to the controversial gear. And then I've got the Platypus. So Platypus Quick Draw, they have like a new attachment to their filter. And so I've got a review on the Quick Draw. What do you want to do first?
Let's do the review. I like doing the reviews.
The review? Okay. All right. Have you used this, the Quick Draw filter?
No, I have not. I think we know I use the platypuses, or not the platypus, the camelbacks and the life straws for all my water needs.
That's right. All right.
So yeah.
You'll get a chance to use it on this next trip. So I think this is a pretty popular filter in general. They added a cap, and then I just gave it to Tupperware Mike, so he's got it now. But anyway, they have a cap where it'll screw directly onto the smart water bottle, so you can use it a lot more easily as a kind of a gravity filter with just this little thing, and you can still use it as a squeeze filter. So as a filter, I think this is one of the top ones. I would use this if I wanted a gravity filter. I would use this over the Sawyer squeeze for sure. So I'd rank this higher. It does the job. Like you'll probably figure this out anyway, but if you're screwing it onto the water bottle, then you have to it can't be tightly screwed on. You have to have like it has to be connected, but you have to have air in there to kind of depressurize so that the water comes through at a fast rate.
That makes sense.
It's got overall the bags, as far as like for squeezing, are better than the Sawyer. It's got a better flow rate, in my opinion. Like the way, where it's coming out, like the mouth it's got kind of a bigger diameter there. And so
just if you're really thirsty, you can just get it.
Yeah. I'm biased because I love Cascade design stuff. I've used it for decades now, and they've always treated me well over the years. Just a good quality company. They make like Thermarest and MSR and all that stuff. Anyway, so I'm a big fan of their stuff. I will say, though, full disclosure, they have had some issues with their bags, not for the squeezing part, which is what Sawyer has an issue with, but they have a little hanger on their bag where you might hang it on a tree. It's got this little blue attachment, and that just breaks off. It doesn't ruin the bag. It just ruins your ability to hang it. It breaks off pretty easy. So some people are using Canuck bags anyway. They don't really care, but just kind of something to be mindful of.
No, that's nice. I like how compact it is, and it works for water bottles. Makes it easy,
lightweight,
to just reuse your water bottles. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So there you go. Something to consider. All right. You've already been checking the YouTube comments on the controversial gear, and I think we've only gotten comments. I think we got one Patreon comment as well. But what do you got? What reactions are you noting that are interesting?
I'm surprised. The carabiner actually was the most controversial item so far.
I know,
a lot of people were commenting on the carabiner.
Yeah.
I honestly, when I threw that out there, I didn't think it'd be controversy. I thought people use it, but I didn't think people were passionate about it.
Right.
And one viewer mentioned that they use it for hair clips, and I don't know how you use a carabiner. Is it to hold the hair clip, or is it actually like a hair clip? So
this probably sounds really foolish if two guys with that much hair are talking about how to use a carabiner for a hair clip, but keep going, Ben.
Yeah, no. So I don't know how to use the carabiner as a hair clip. I could use it for my beard maybe, but and then the other comment I thought was funny was the hammock comment. Listener commented that it's like a burrito for the bear, the baby in your hammock. So I thought that was good. So keep the comments coming. They're fun.
Yeah, so I was surprised at how like some people are really like, no, that you got to bring a carabiner. Like the carabiner's so helpful. And I think they mean more the keychain size, not the full size. But I haven't brought one. I can't even remember the last time I brought one. It's been I don't know, like definitely over 10 years, and I've never missed it. So I don't, if you like it, you like it. Great, bring one if that's part of your thing. But I don't think you need it. So the other thing
brought
too
two,
was
and it was to hang a hammock, which was funny. Like I brought two carabiners, and it was to hang a hammock.
Right. If I knew where I hanging hammocks, I could comment on that, but I don't. The other one was somebody asked, like, "Hey, can you please share the link to your awesome 1-inch blade knife?"
Okay, I don't think they put awesome in there, but we can go.
I know they didn't. Well, I don't know. That's what my question was. Do they want the knife, or they're just curious what it looks like and how much it costs? Or they want to make fun of it? Like where were they with that? I couldn't tell.
I asked them. I haven't heard back. I responded and asked them like, please tell me you're not buying this knife.
Right.
I can't believe it.
So anyway, appreciate you taking the time to comment. That was nice. I think that's all I got on my end. You got anything else?
No, I think it was good. We're having fun. I do want to thank the listeners. Me and you talk all the time a lot about the episodes and what we plan when I'm co-hosting, and how much fun me and you have just doing it together. And so I think it's cool that it's possible because of the listeners. So thank you to the listeners for having us just kind of have fun, and hopefully bring you guys entertainment too.
I call them fellow adventurers, but you can call them listeners if you want to.
Fellow adventurers. Okay.
Yeah.
Got
it. Whatever you want.
I try to remember that.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Thanks again for checking out this episode. Hopefully there was some helpful information in there. And like I said, we got links in our show description. And have a great week, everybody. God bless.
See ya.